Good evening. How are you today? It is December 10th. And I have with me today, first of all, thank you, John Young and DJ News for having me put this on. And tonight I have a wonderful friend all the way from South Dakota, Mr. Chris Hintz of Pinnacle Productions. Chris, welcome, my brother.
How you doing, Big Daddy? Good to see you, man. Thanks so much for having me be a part of this tonight.
Oh, honored, my friend. It's been a while. We've been friends for a while. With everything you have going on, my friend, being PA director and, AV director of Midwest DJ Live and everything. Let's start from the beginning. Who is Chris Hintz and what is Pinnacle Productions?
Well, I mean, who am I? Well, I think I am a recovering Vikings fan. Vikings apologist, I guess I'd say. A husband, which most importantly, husband. Try to be a man of God. Love being an entrepreneur. Love coaching. Love people. Love playing music and making money. It's great. Pinnacle Productions started basically when I got married the first time. I thought I could do it better than what was being done locally, and we decided to take an opportunity to make money and be social instead of spend money and be social. It was a very interesting run, and we did it really hard, and we took way too long to seek actual advice and go to training and get education and see what was out there. I think we, like most people, started it off thinking, people love us. Why wouldn't they love us? Raise your rates. No, we can't raise our rates. And then, you see that there is a massive, massive group of people that want to mentor and help grow, push, and hold you accountable. And it's been amazing ever since that switch was flipped.
And how long have you been Pinnacle Productions before the switch and everything else?
Sure. Well, we're 20 years in. We really didn't incorporate until 2004. So in 2002 and 2003, we did like 2 or 3 little tiny things, but we weren't really incorporated as a business until 2004. So we celebrated, 20 years coming up this February, which is unbelievable, to be quite frank. I'm still that 28-year-old kid, but I'm not that 28-year-old kid.
You have a partner?
Yeah, I have a incredible partner, DJ Core, aka Jeff Muselar. We've been friends for about 15 years. We've been partners for about 11 now. The kid is incredibly talented, and he's not a kid anymore, but he's just an incredibly talented dude who is an innovator, a doer, pushes the envelope in many ways, and it's really a good yin and yang, I think.
Now he's in South Dakota?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not right now. He's somewhere between Tokyo and
God bless him.
Beijing. So he's over working with San Holo. He's his tour manager. He's over there working some shows in Southeast Asia. So he'll be home right in time for Christmas. His daughter's birthday is on Christmas, and so he'll be home for that. But he's hard to pin down this time of year. He's gone a lot, and that's good. He does what he loves, and he gets to bring home all of that incredible
knowledge.
Yeah, and not only that, but like all of the incredible innovations that he sees, and then he can bring it back into our market. And R&D, like it's been said a few times, R&D used to mean research and develop. Now it's rip off and differentiate, and we are able to see some really cool things because of that. And it's been a very big blessing for us, for sure.
Now, a question. You're an AV company also. And
yeah.
And how big? All right, let's go back. How many DJs do you have working for you?
DJs wise, probably I'd say 12 to 13, maybe maybe a little bit more than that um, on the part-time side. But I think total employees, I think we're hovering right around that 50, or sorry, I'd say probably like 43, 44 total between part-time and full-time. So,
And half of those people are AV.
I would say it's about, I would say probably, yeah, probably 40, 50% somewhere in there, or in the production side of what we do. We also have a media division that's incredibly talented, and we have multiple shooters, and we have a brand strategist for that. And then on the entertainment side of things, we have a DJ manager, we have an assistant, we have photo booths, we have someone who does all of our AR and AP. Ashley, she's an absolute rock star. Callista on our front office, she makes sure that all of our clients feel taken care of and listened to and heard, and her communication style is amazing. And you can tell she's smiling just by reading her emails.
Yep,
It's incredible. And
that's a
then
big thing.
Sean and Dante do a great job of keeping all of our nightlife accounts and all of our guys trained up and pumping out great work, challenging them to get better every single week. It's really great when you hire great people, you trust great people, and they execute. It's really beautiful. And on top of that, you got to let them. If there's something that happens, you can't take away their failures all the time, because if you take away their failures, you take away the wins. So you got to trust people to make the best decisions possible, and let them be themselves. And none of us are ever meant to be perfect. None of us will ever be perfect. So if we think we can, somehow save the world and save everyone from making mistakes, I think we're kind of doing a disservice. But it's really great to see a team committed to one another and committed to bringing joy and celebrations to life. It's a great something I'm extremely proud of.
I love that. Now, what made you go from just a DJ company? Because you just started out as just a DJ company, correct? That
Yeah,
if, please
yes.
don't think I'm saying anything bad. If I'm saying anything
No,
bad, and then you went from there to photo booths and stuff like that.
yeah.
How long of a transition was it, and what made you decide to go full on AV also, beside DJing and photo booths?
Sure. I've shared this a few times, but when we were growing our company, I was going through a pretty difficult time, I would say. About 5 years in, my wife and I at the time got divorced, and, trying to make money midweek was difficult. There wasn't a lot of things in South Dakota at the time, and we were doing the best we could to grow our brand, and karaoke and DJing and a few of those other pieces were doing okay, but it wasn't really enough to pay the bills
Sustainable,
all of the time. So
sustainable.
yeah, I think most of our businesses are cyclical in some way. Quarter one for us, we usually lose money. In quarter two and three, we make a lot. And then quarter four, we break even. So we know that it's cyclical. But during one of I think it was probably 2006 or 2007, I ended up being asked by one of the guys that we rented gear from when we had big events that we didn't want to house or store and pay for and blah, blah, blah. So we'd rent some things when we had our bigger events. And he asked me, he's like, hey, have you ever considered doing some part-time stuff like on the production side of things and AV? And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, we always need help with setup and strike, and there's events that need a good DJ, and it'd be really nice to have another helper. And so that guy, Tom is his name, one of the most intelligent people that I've ever met on the AV side of things. He's incredibly intelligent. And I worked for him for a while, and one of his clients approached me and asked me to basically bypass him. And said that's just not the way I work. Um, and I actually told his wife that that had happened, and then I didn't have a job anymore after that. But it also allowed me the opportunity to see what happens behind the scenes, and to see how we can use our skills as entertainers and our attention to detail, and understand that everything is an entertainment function, even if it's boring boring ballroom AV. It doesn't have to be boring ballroom
Right.
AV. And if you're sharp and you pay attention and you see these little cues, you can bring in music that highlights things and makes things better. And that client that asked me to do it for him eventually got rid of him and put it out to bid. And They signed a 2-year contract with us that allowed us to go to the bank and have a note that was, amortized based upon that, transaction, those
Sure.
relationships, and then it was off, man. It was 2014, I think, or 15, and it was just fun and stressful. Man, AV is stressful. You think
Oh yeah.
DJing is stressful, bro. There's AV
Video
is one of
walls,
those things
everything
that,
else. Oh,
yeah, and you can't fake it till you make it. If you fake it till you
no.
make it, you'll never get an opportunity again to do it. So it's when I hear other people talk about like the fake it till you make it thing, and I have a lot of friends, and I know like Jonathan Salmon said, say yes and figure it out, and we've done the same things. But I think there's a difference between someone like Jonathan and someone like us saying yes and figuring it out than it is, you know, DJs that can't quite figure out that great microphones make a huge difference, and it really is your calling card. Like you can't use cheap microphones in the corporate AV function set. Like you will lose money. Like you will lose the client. You will lose your reputation, and there are some things you just can't do. So,
Sure.
and we all do the best we can with what we have. I believe that 100%. But if you really want to make it something worthwhile and we're sticking to your reputation means everything in AV. Those are
Now,
recurring clients,
of
not
course, they're not
not a
just
one-off client. So
no. Now, between AV, DJ, photo booth, 50-50 AV, DJ.
no. I would say according to our revenue model, I think the last time that we took a really hard look at, I think AV is probably close to 60%, maybe
Okay.
a little bit higher than that between AV and production. Our entertainment side of things is about, I would say, 20-ish percent. And then you got your media division, which is about 10 to 15, depending upon the year, because that fluctuates too,
Oh yeah.
especially with COVID and all of that free money that was out there and all that grant money. So that fluctuates a little bit. But there's also photo booths that are thrown in there, and there's also some rental stuff, and there's also some rock and roll stuff where you're working with bands. We don't do a ton of
Love
that.
that. No, love that
Yeah,
stuff.
but it's very diverse, and I think that diversification of the revenue streams allows us to be in several different ponds, and hopefully some of those frogs jump into bigger, oceans and then bring us with. So
The, so we go back right to the beginning for of the AV part. Being an honest man, lost a small job, but got you to where you are today.
right,
My friends out there, that says volumes. Be an honest person. Be Don't do things behind people's back, because with social media and everything else nowadays and everything else, they'll find out. And what Chris
yeah,
did is outstanding.
man,
And
karma's a thing, dude. Karma's a thing.
yeah, a big one, a
Yep.
big one. Now, your first ever on your own big audio visual thing. How did it go? Your first one that you did, big one, after you took the loan out of the bank and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So after Aflac was our first, big one that signed the contract for the retainer and made sure that
Nice.
we were able to uh, go out and purchase the gear that we
Mhm.
needed to expand. It went well. The negatives were we thought we had good enough microphones, and we didn't really have good enough microphones. It worked, but it wasn't what it should have been.
Right,
Um,
right.
and then our first, like I would say, one where I thought we were really pushing our limits and our skill set was an event we did with one of our favorite event planners here locally. And it happened to be like one of the largest video walls that we had ever even looked at. It was ended up being 3 massive panels, and it was about, I think, 70 or 80 feet wide
Whoa.
by about 25 feet high at its tallest. And there was custom animations and custom graphics, and it was a lot. It was a lot. We had a runway that was very big, and we are so blessed to have advocates and friends in the industry that are mentors that gave us some really great advice about what we needed to do and how we needed to do it. And Jeff was able to lean in on some of his production friends that are in the industry and doing stuff like that on a pretty regular basis. So having those relationships, I think that we planted those seeds and cultivated those seeds and really were able to reach out and ask for help. There's something powerful when you're asking for help the right way.
Amen.
People
Amen.
want to help. People who don't want to help, they're in it for themselves. And it's easy to see that. And that doesn't usually work itself out very well over the long term. Over the short term, you might be able to fool some people into thinking you have your shit together, stuff together, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you always do. So do it by the right or do it the right way. Take care of each other. Reach out when you have questions. Be a mentor and be a mentee. We need both sides. None of us are
Again,
meant to do this on its own. That's why we have people like you and people like John, to help facilitate these conversations and really kind of spread the gospel about why our industry is so great and why we're so lucky to be in it.
well, a young man like you're what, 40, 46?
51.
Oh, hell no. Now
Yeah.
you look like you're 35, but it's
I
it's
feel like I'm
people like
95.
trust me, my knees are going, what were you thinking walking all that way? But it's people like this man right here that I have the honor of calling my friend and brother and talking to. You want it, as I tell everybody, two of these, one of these.
Yeah.
Use this more than this. And right now, and there's another quick story about that wonderful wife of yours. Now, wasn't she in a car accident a while ago, or was that you?
No, she was in a really bad car accident when she was in high school. Um, Gravel road really impeded her dad's ability to see. And a semi went across the road and she went through the windshield so it was really, it was one of life's defining moments for her.
And
And
you guys have been together for how long?
we have been married for 7 years,
Yep.
going on 8. We have been together for about 13 years now. So, and we have learned all there is to know about each other and like each other in spite of it. and, and that's a good thing.
My friends, this is a love story like no other. And your wife's got a blanket business, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Now,
She has a business called Shake, Rattle, and Sew, SCW. Look her up on Facebook, look her up online. She makes what I honestly believe are the softest blankets in the world. If you can find one that's not soft, it's worth $1 million. So happy hunting.
awesome, awesome. So, um, now is she involved at? Now, isn't she also a nurse?
No, she actually works at a nursing home.
Nursing
She
home. Okay,
manages all of the beauty salons and she works predominantly in the assisted living, but mainly in the memory care units and Alzheimer's units.
God bless her. God bless her.
Oh man. And the things that I've seen and stories that she's shared with families because those, incredible souls that have been stricken with that horrible disease, dementia and memory loss is just horrible. It's horrible for the families. They can't communicate half the time. That person that they love doesn't know who they are. They don't recognize them. And Holly has this incredible thing where she actually makes them feel beautiful and they remember her name. And it allows her to bridge that gap sometimes and be that conduit between the family and that person. And it is
On your end,
so touching.
right, and on your end, that makes it's a great combination of two wonderful souls, and that sort of for watching and listening, it pumps you to be better. Does that make sense? Better and just kick some ass and just do your thing.
You are who you're surrounded with. It's just a blessing. It's just another opportunity for us to take a look and say, my wife, who is amazing and is the love of my life, she is so much cooler than me. And she's not impressed with my stuff. And that's great. We all need that as DJs. We're all a little type A, a little type. And for us, our worst day playing music that somebody else created where we make money off of is better than most people's worst, our worst day, I should say, is better than most people's best day.
Best day. Yeah.
And that is something I think we all take, for granted a little bit too often. And that woe was me, and oh my God, I had to play this song for this couple, and I hate the chicken dance. It's like, get over yourself. It's not about you. It's about your clients. And if you love it, I'll love it with you. It doesn't mean I love it, but you're never gonna know. So,
No. Again, if there's no them, there is no us.
correct.
And a lot
Yeah,
of these people out there are not thinking like that. And the way,
it's okay.
that's okay. That's more
The
business for
longevity
us.
just isn't there because they get bored. And if you love people, this is a great business for you. If you love performing and being the center of attention, you're going to love it for a while, but your half-life is going to be very short.
Yep. Now, quick question. Out of all the decisions you've made, the things that have worked out, the things that have not,
Mhm.
what can you tell these folks out there? Somebody looking to do the same kind of thing you are, what would you, if not differently, but how you started, what would you tell these folks to do what you do?
Know your numbers. Like, know your numbers. None of us are doing this for charity. Every one of us is doing this to make a living. And if you don't understand your cogs, if you don't understand what you're actually making, it's disheartening. You talk to someone and you're like, oh, what are you doing? Well, we're charging X number of dollars. I'm making $3,000 a weekend. Cool. What are you taking home? What do you mean? I make 3 grand. It's like, you don't make 3 grand. Your checkbook might have 3 grand in it, but that's after, before or after you paid your sales tax and your income tax and before you funded your 401k or your Roth. There's a lot of different things that are in there. I think knowing your numbers is extremely important, and then realizing that not everything is worth taking.
Amen. Amen.
There are some events that just are not, they're not worth it. And that doesn't mean money. It just, currency comes in many forms. If it's just money, you'll be perpetually broke.
Now you're doing the AV for Midwest DJ Live,
Yep.
working for a corporation like all the ones that you do, Aflac, everything else. What's the difference between putting on a show, a 3-day show for entertainers, DJs, than putting on a 1-day show for a corporate? What is the difference? How, the steps, if you will?
Sure. I think, well, first and foremost, the pay is different.
Oh, yeah.
When you're working in our industry, it's a labor of love, and that's one of those things that is understood. It's also an opportunity to showcase what's possible. And there isn't anything that we've done that I think is special per se. We've just worked really, really hard and we've honed our skills. And now we have a certain subset of skills that allow us to perform and do these things at a pretty high level. And I think that can be something that can be replicated depending upon your skill set
Mm-hmm,
and,
mm-hmm.
again, your aptitude. But working in the industry for trade shows and stuff, it's for me, it's an opportunity for us to showcase, how far we've come and that we're not just a DJ company and you can make a full-time living at this. You can create some incredible jobs and opportunities for other people. And it is really about creating a team that makes you stronger. The sum of the parts is so much more powerful than the individual ones. Like
Mm-hmm.
none of us could do what we do at Pinnacle without each other. We need one another. And it is so fulfilling to see an event go super smoothly and to hear people like last year, someone had reviewed the show and said that the production was perfect. And it wasn't perfect. We had a couple things that weren't perfect, but man, it was close. It was really close. And the microphones all worked. And the presentations all worked. And the sound all worked. And there was no feedback and there was no issues. It was just when you do things right and you take a lot of pride in what you do, to do it for your industry is an honor. It
Mm-hmm.
100% is an honor. And that's how we look at it.
Well, my friend, you got to tell these folks how to get in touch with you. social
Sure.
media, everything. I'll let them know. Folks out there, you got to know this man. Tell them, baby.
Yeah, you can reach us at pinnacleprodj.com, PINNACLEPRODJ.com. You can find me on Instagram at DJ Chris Hintz, also on Facebook at DJ Chris Hintz. If you want my cell phone number, it's easy to find, but reach out anytime. I love talking to people. I like mentoring. I like coaching. I like helping other people shorten the path because it's a long path when you do it by yourself, and we're not meant to do things by yourself. So reach out. Always
Oh,
willing to have a conversation, always willing to make a new friend and make sure our industry gets better.
my brother, I thank you so, 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 so much. And just real quick, for me, closing seminar, to being the closing seminar for everything, that's more gratifying to me than anything. And having you as a friend, even more gratifying. Everybody out there,
Thanks,
we will
brother.
see you very soon. Chris Hintz, thank you so very much. Honor and pleasure. And guess what? Ben Stowe is next. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week. Big
Thanks,
Daddy
Sean.
loves you. Thank you, Chris.
Bye.